Where are we? What
I'm
day is it?
I'm in an alternate universe. I have no idea.
Oh man,
I have absolutely no idea what day it is. It rained on us last night at the rodeo, just so freaking hard, and then having to take all that down in the mud is like the only thing that's worse than taking down panels is when you have to take them down and it's freaking sloppy muddy because anyway, it was and on top of that we had a really nice couple guys that have never helped us before that wanted to. I don't know if they were hired or if they just wanted to help. Let me tell you, there's nothing worse than carrying a 12-foot bow gate with somebody that's never carried a 12-foot bow gate before in the mud. So anyway, we lived and we got home in a decent hour. Wasn't too bad. So
well, they couldn't let you get off with the last one being easy, dude.
no, that ain't no joke. Today's the last one, and it's rained there since
Oh, you have
10
another
p.m. last
one.
night. Yeah, today's the last one, and we have to go set up today. Like I'm leaving after this podcast. To go set the arena up, and then have the rodeo tonight, and then take it down tonight.
This has been quite the
and then we're
journey.
done. Yeah,
This has been a journey, man.
It's insane. Somebody needs to get Trevor an agent. No, I'm just kidding. It's cool that they were able to book them all in. You know, like they've definitely got them like stacked in there. Which fair season, when the fairs call and they're like, "Hey, can you come?" And it's like, well, you either have that day open or
you can do it all year.
You say no, and you say no, and you
There's your money down the
miss
drain.
out on making money or whatever. And I guess there's been quite a few. I think there's been quite a few local other fairs. Their committees have come to some of the ones that we've done this last week and a half to watch because they're unhappy with the rodeo committee, or the rodeo company maybe, or whoever they've had, and they've come and wanted to watch. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they're getting busier. So anyway. Yeah, I think so. Man, Trev and Scott and Diane, all of them, they do such a good job. They could be, as far as the way that they're ran, they could be pro rodeos. They could be. They're ran well. They're good stock. They're just. It's not like a 3.5 hour performance. Too. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
3-Bar J is one of the most professional amateur productions you can possibly go to, and
yep, yeah, they're good.
That's cool, man.
Radio. So we'll see. We'll see what. We'll see what happens. I've been judging with this guy. I don't want to hijack the whole intro, but I do want to say I've been judging with this guy named Joe Sanders, and Joe is he's retired from the penitentiary as a guard. He was like a jail like a big boy penitentiary guard for. Quite a while, and this dude used to be a power lifter and roped calves since as rope calf. Anyway, he is freaking huge, and it is awesome because you're like, when somebody's like, hey, what about this? I'm like, I don't know, that's Joe. And they're like, Mr. Joe. Nobody's gonna talk no smack to Joe. He's been
I don't make the
for
calls
a long
here,
time,
man.
so it's been fun to get. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said. Somebody a steer tripped last night, and they look at me, and I'm like, I didn't even say anything. I just pointed to Joe. Ask him. I don't want to. Yeah. Anyway, it's been good. What have you guys been up to?
Hilarious. Nothing like
I'm
that.
getting settled back in.
Thank goodness.
Settled back in from the trip. Like I was saying, I really don't know what day it is. I just feel like today's Tuesday, but it's definitely not. I am getting caught up, and I know you're not going to believe it, but doing a little irrigating. So just watering grass, man. Watering that grass.
That seems like a never-ending project.
It's never ending. I'm glad it's only a few months a year. It's and it's also it's kind of rewarding, self-fulfilling, if you will. You set it all up, turn it on, it all gets rolling, the grass starts to turn green. You're like, that's pretty cool. Not very complex thing, but very. I like it. It's nice. It's It's been a cool change and something to learn. I like learning new stuff, so it's been a cool thing to learn about. And next year will be been learning even more for next year, so it'll be good. If anyone needs hay, by the way,
so
you can buy it from me.
What is the what's the purpose of all? Because I know Bennett has irrigation systems and stuff too. So what is the purpose of it? Is it just because it's so dry? In order to get it to grow at all, you have to irrigate it, or is it wildfire prevention?
All of
A
all
little
of the
bit both?
above. All of the, I would say both for sure. My neighbor, one of the first things he said is, even if you're not going to cut the hay, it's the only way we get water to the ground, like to any of this area. So you have to irrigate to water your lawn or whatever. You can set up like those automatic systems if you want, but unless it's coming from your well, the irrigation water is so dirty that it clogs up the sprinkler systems, those little ones. So you can't run one off of that. And so, and if your well's not big enough, like you're not running enough water to be watering the grass like that. So you're whatever. I just set up these big pipes and do it that way. But my neighbor, the first thing he said when he came down was like, even if you're not going to hay it, like if a fire cracks off, it's better to have green grass around your house than it is to have brown. And I was like, absolutely. So, been trying to keep it all pretty green, which it's doing a good job. It's definitely a learning curve, man. Like it's taken me a bit to get her dialed in, but finally getting the hang of it. And then what else have I been doing? Shooting my bow and studying my butt off for the CSCS. That's about my entire life right now.
Yeah,
less than a week out of that. And I'm not gonna lie, the practice tests have not been going that well. So I'm not feeling very good about it right now. I'm sure it'll get better.
You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be totally fine. I think I averaged about the same as you've been on your practice tests and went in and made it. So I'm not gonna say I thrived, but we stayed alive. So you're gonna be
passing is passing.
Passed.
Yeah,
whatever it takes to pass.
Pass fail, doing, Paul.
No grade letters here.
Shoot, man. Nope. Just dadding over here.
Dadding hard.
Dadding, working. Caught a couple fish yesterday. That was good.
Yeah, that's always nice. It's believe it or not, it's too hot to fish here. Like the water's too warm.
Dude, yeah, it's too hot. It's too hot here too, but the blessing that we have is they're the tailwater, so it's all the water's all ejected from below the dam, so the water stays
cold, pretty
constant. It's cold nice. Pretty much no matter what. So we can still fish it, and so it's pretty awesome. It's a true year-round fishery because it won't freeze in the wintertime.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that.
It's hot in the summertime. Yeah. Yeah, you were here on the coldest day of the year.
Paul went out. It's like 10 degrees outside. Water's still running good. Fish are still eating, and we were freezing. It was fun, though.
It got up to like 31 in the afternoon.
Oh, dude, that was easily one of the coldest.
I think the day we booked it, too, it was like 70. Yeah, it was like we booked it in the beginning of January. It was like 75 degrees that day, and I was like, "Oh, this will be fantastic." Awesome. And then the day that he gets here, it's like
frozen.
Literally the coldest day that we've had so far. So
yeah, that's fun though.
That's funny.
Really fun. Mm-hmm. I've had some clients or new clients come on recently, and it's fun to see guys join and get coaches that know how to work out. Like I know that they know what they're doing, but the reason that they're hiring me is not because they don't know how to work out. It's all of the other things. It's the accountability, the not having to think once you get to the gym, knowing that the program's set up for your goals and yourself individually. There's all of these things. And so it got me thinking about, we haven't talked in a while about the benefits of hiring a coach and why it's important to seek guidance when you need it. And it may be something that you know how to do already. But there's all kinds of benefits that come from hiring a coach. So kind of wanted to run through with you guys quickly about, just, I don't know, let's see, there's probably 4 or 5 things we could probably list that would cover why hiring a coach would be a good idea or the benefits of it. Paul, what do you think, starting out, what do you think is the number one thing? Benefit?
I think probably the first thing that we have here is like, just the importance of proper guidance. And I think this would probably be more along the lines of like the beginner. Like, somebody's brand new to working out. They've maybe been to a gym a few times. They didn't really know what to do. They walked in the doors. They were pretty intimidated. Like there's just so much stuff in there. They didn't even really know where to start. I think this is the where speaking to that person, having a coach is very important, because it literally, instead of having to walk in there and fiddle around for, weeks, months, even years before, hopefully you'd figure it out, within a year or so, but like it shortens that learning curve for you. Like now you can walk in the gym and, either you have an in-person coach or you have a remote coach, and now you have a plan. You know what exercise machines you need to be going to, the sets, the reps. Like, if somebody were to just walk in for the first time and they see a leg extension machine, they might sit on that leg extension machine. They might just, have the weight set really low and do 30 reps and then get off and be like, I don't, like, what was that good? Like, should I have done that? Do I need to do more? Like, where do I need to go? There's so many questions. And so, having proper guidance, is super important. And then on the other side of it, and when I started working out, I was a cocky teenager. And so like there's risk involved when you're a cocky teenager, because you want to ego lift big time. Like you saw something on social media, or you watched a YouTube video, or you see another guy doing something, you're like, I'm going to do that. And yeah, probably not a great idea if it's your first or even your 10th time walking into the gym. Like you need to have some guidance as far as technique goes, as far as form goes. Finding like what weight is appropriate for you, like that's a whole nother challenge. And so having somebody to guide you along there, like I said, it just shortens that learning curve, because it can be a long one if you're trying to do it on your own.
Heck yeah, dude. And also I think that goes into like setting realistic goals when you're getting in the gym. Like you said, you walk in the gym, a young cocky teenager, not really knowing, just knowing that I want to get strong, and you start loading up, heavy weights, all of, whatever, and you're risking injury. You're not getting the most out of your workouts. That goal that you set wasn't necessarily realistic, and it wasn't you didn't have a tailored plan for you. So Logan, you want to break down why or how personal/remote trainers can help athletes establish realistic targets based on their goals?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing that we always do, and any real personal trainer or strength coach is going to do with a new individualized athlete, is an evaluation. That's really the first step. We have to kind of figure out where you're at, and we have to have multiple conversations about your goals. I can't tell you where we're going if I don't know where you've been. I need to know injury history. I need to know diet history. I need to know training history. I need to get as much of that information as I possibly can when we start and we do a movement evaluation. And based on those things, then I can write a program based on the time you have available. Are you going to the gym? Are you working out at home? What equipment do you have available? And then this is the classic example that probably almost everybody listening can relate to. And that, there's been times in your life, I know it has been for me, where I'm like, I'm going to get in shape. And so I buy a gym membership and I go to the gym 7 days a week because I don't know any better. And 2 weeks later, a month later, 3 days later, I'm done. And I miss a day. And now because I miss a day, I'm just kicking myself like, oh, I'm such a loser. I can't believe it. And next thing you know, I never step foot back in that gym, or at least not for another 6 months or a year, because I messed up. I messed up and I didn't follow through. And so not only having a coach going to set up those individualized workouts specifically for you and where you're wanting to go in the arena or aesthetically, but also going to help you understand the fastest way to get there. The fastest way to get there is the most consistent way. And that's probably not 7 days a week. For most individuals, depending on the situation, it could be 2 or 3 times a week, which is extremely much easier to be consistent with. And we can get in the gym regularly, and 2 to 3 days a week over the course of 6 months will yield dramatic results. And we can help bridge that gap between where the client thinks that what they think they have to do to get results and what is actually going to get them results in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where the tailored plan comes into play. Yeah. Sorry if I missed that. What'd you say?
No, I was just going to say that can sometimes be a pretty big gap. We have expectations of what is going to get us there, and sometimes our expectations are way off. I run into that still. The things that we caution clients against, like I still have those feelings. It's like, oh, well, I want to, I'm not happy with the way my body looks right now. I should probably start running every day. And it's like, no, that's probably not a good idea. But like, I still have those thoughts. Like, I don't know if it's human nature or what, or we're just so conditioned by, all the things that we've seen about fitness, like what it should look like. I have not started running, so my logic brain actually kicked in there and kept me.
Well, you have a coach too, don't you?
What is going to pay off? I do have a coach, yeah, and so if I ignored him, then that would be, he'd be like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, and so that's a great point. Like, I still have a coach. I've had a coach, the same coach, for the last, I think, 3 years now, and even with my background, I think I would have been lifting for at least 11 or 12 years before hiring this coach, and I still learned things from him.
Yep.
So I had an extensive background in fitness. I had a certified personal training certification. I've had nutrition certifications. And by hiring my own coach and having an outside set of eyes on what I'm doing, like, I still learn things. There were certain lifts that I was executing incorrectly, like just tiny little things, tiny little tweaks in my form that I didn't realize that I was doing incorrectly. And, having somebody look at that and, break it down for you, and then you can learn so much more. And like, it just goes by my point earlier, like, if by hiring a coach, like right off the bat, or even no matter where you're at in your fitness journey, like, it can severely cut that learning curve down for you.
Yeah, dude, it really is important. And the tailored plan, man, it's just like what you were just saying, is you have like this urge, like, I need to go run, I need to go do something. It's like, hold up, I'm paying this guy this much money a month to coach me, for me to trust him. I'm not going to go against the plan, even though my gut's telling me to do one thing, right? That tailored plan and sticking to it is going to help you achieve those goals and keep those goals much more in reality than forever chasing them, right? My favorite, hands down, my favorite thing about having a coach is taking the guesswork out of it. Even being a coach myself, when I go to the gym, dude, we're making workouts all day long. The last thing I want to do is make a workout for myself. Exactly. It's just, it does. It takes the guesswork out of it, and that's what I love about it. So I have someone that makes workouts for me as well. I love that I don't have to think about it. And for someone, rodeo athlete, someone just starting, dude, that's what we've been talking about this entire episode, is walking into the gym. It's all guesswork. If you don't know what you're doing, if you're not educated in physical fitness and personal training, all of it's guesswork. So the number one thing that prevents people from continuing on their fitness journey, I'm going to say, is usually guesswork. So we're taking that out right there with just hiring a personal trainer, hiring a remote coach that can help you. And like, getting back to that, going towards your goals, man, like, having the guesswork removed out of your path to your goals is like the best feeling in the world, when you can sit there and look at it and say, okay, A, B, and C leads to D. I need to continue to do those things until I get there. Those points where it's just like when Paul's saying, like, his body's telling him to go run, same shit. Like, I'm not winning, I've got to go do more. Like, no, I trust the process. I stick to the plan. I don't have anything to guess here. It's all right here in front of me. I just need to stay accountable and do it. And that's the other thing I love about having a coach, is the accountability. And again, that's, I'd say that's something that's individualized per coach, right? Everyone does their accountability different. But I will say, if your coach is not reaching out to you when you are not completing your things, you need to have a conversation with them or get a new coach, because that is a huge percentage of why you are hiring a coach, is to keep you going and keep you accountable and doing the things that you want to do to stay on track, right? I train multiple world champions in rodeo events, and even the best in the world still have to be reminded to stay after it. I'd say it might be even more sometimes, because you get to that point and you are at this level. Yes, you're very, very talented, and you feel like, it's not going to go away. So at times I feel like, even with those athletes, I have to even be more on the ball with saying, hey, remember 10 minutes, 15 minutes of that mobility? Like, you need to do that. You remember that groin injury you had 6 months ago? That's going to come back if we do not continue to do the maintenance on this. You've got to stay after it. So that's what the coach is there for. That's why you hire someone, is to be that person for you and not call you out, but kind of, like, that's
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I need that shit every now and then.
Oh yeah, and I've been going through that recently. I think I brought it up a few weeks ago on the podcast about like just the inconsistency in my own journey, and like my coach was like, "All right, come on, like how can we?" And this, I was going to bring this up. This is something that it comes up on consults or not consults, but check-in calls all the time with clients. Is like, okay, you've completed one workout in the last 2 weeks, like let's change something. Like, let's change your workouts. And they're like, no, I think this week's going to get me, like, I'll be back on track. But like, we have this unrealistic expectation of what we're going to be able to complete versus like what we're actually going to be consistent with. And as a coach, like we can know that, like we can almost see the future. Like nobody, like I've been here before. I've had other clients be like in the place that you're at. I think what we need to do is make an adjustment so that you can actually start getting consistent with these things. And then once you build the consistency, by all means, we can, go back to what we were doing before or increase the intensity or the duration, whatever it is. But like, bottom line is like, we have to change your perception of like yourself, basically. Your self-image has to
in a
reflect,
situation.
I'm the type of person that works out every day.
Yep.
Yep.
Like it can't be like, oh, tomorrow's going to be the day. Tomorrow's going to be the day. Like it has to be, I am going to get this done. And if you don't have an hour in that day, that's impossible. Like you can't be that person. So if we can shorten it up to be a 15-20 minute mobility session, now we can get back on track. Now you can be the person that does the work every day because you can get in that groove.
Absolutely. And that is an accountability thing. But I think what you explained even more so there is having a guide along the way that can adjust things for you and read your, what's going on in your life, the routine that is happening. If that routine is not sustainable, you need a guide there to tell you, hey, we need to adjust this a little bit so we can keep this going and you can keep being consistent. And this can be, a longevity thing. So having that person to guide you along and help you balance your work life, workout, nutrition ratios is really, really important and can be really beneficial. Logan, what about like balancing effort and responsibility?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times what I find, I'm sure you guys have seen this too. We take on a new client. We have a great consult. We get along. We take on a new client that says that they've struggled to be consistent in the gym before. And you're really excited about it. They knock out their evaluation almost immediately, and then we write a program. And within the first week, we start to see some inconsistency. And what I think we've found is that there are people out there that assume that just because they've hired a coach, that was really the ticket. They don't necessarily have to be consistent. They don't necessarily have to do the things. They've got a coach now, and so they're really looking at that as being their key to success. And at the end of the day, having a coach is great, but it certainly doesn't take away from the fact that if I can write the best program in the world for you, if you don't do it, we're still in the same position that you were in before you started working with me. It all comes down. I tell every single potential client that on a consult is that, like, I'm excited about the possibility of working with you, but it is going to come down to your ability to be consistent and your work ethic. And so, I mean, it takes responsibility on the part of the athlete that they're going to have to put in the effort. We take responsibility for writing a program that is taking out the guesswork. We take responsibility for providing some accountability. But when it comes down to picking up that dumbbell and putting it back down and moving it around consistently, we can't do that for them. That's not something that it's not part of the deal. It'd be cool if it was, but it's not.
Yeah.
So they have to get in there. They have to get the work in. And so what, like we've talked about a couple different times over the course of this podcast, but when it comes to hiring a coach, if you've got a coach, man, you need to trust the process and understand when you open up your app or you go in and you see your coach in person, there might be some things that pop up that you're like scratching your head a little bit. I would encourage you to ask a question. I'm sure that 90% of the coaches out there would love to answer your question about, hey, why are these there? what's the purpose behind these? I love it when I get clients that are asking me questions, because it gives me an opportunity to explain the process. And every time I explain the process, I'm like, man, I'm reminded of some new things, and it's helpful for me to explain the process. And what I do there is I build a relationship with the client by communicating and answering questions. It strengthens our relationship, and it helps them to trust the process even more as we move forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. And I think that another part that goes into that is communication with your coach. If you're going to hire a coach, not only do you need to put the work in, but you need to communicate with them about what you're doing, the weights you're lifting, times you're holding things. If you do not communicate the results of your workout with your coach, they can't do their job. So you do have a responsibility as the athlete to put in the effort on the work side and the communication side with your coach. Otherwise, you will never get the desired results. You have to continue to put in that work. Guys, you have anything else to kind of wrap up hiring a coach? I think we kind of covered it right there, but if you got a couple things to add, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, I mean, just the communication thing I think is really important, because, we could write the best program in the world, but you might be, the client might not be doing it justice by, not believing in, the amount of reps that he can do or the amount of weight that he can push. And so, if they're underperforming in a particular lift, like, they're not going to get the adaptation that we're trying to drive. And so there's a huge, communication is a huge part, because it allows us to actually do our job and coach. And same thing with the asking questions. When you ask questions, I love it when I get a new client and they're like, oh, sorry to bother you, but what's this? And it's like, no, dude, you're not bothering me. That's literally what I'm here for. Just ask. Please ask questions, because then I get to do my job and coach you. That's the whole point of this. And so that relationship it's a two-way street. The communication has to be there on both sides. And by having the guesswork taken out for you, all you have to do, those are my favorite consults. I ask that on every consult is, how confident, have you been working out? Yes. Okay, how confident are you when you leave the gym that you're actually moving towards your goal? And they're like, well, I'm not. And that's my favorite moment, because I'm like, I can help you. This is perfect. I can actually set you on the right path. You're already consistent in working out. I can get you on the program that's actually going to work for you. And then when you leave the gym, you're confident. You're like, okay, the work that I just put in is actually benefiting me. It's actually going to carry over to the arena, or it's actually going to help me lose weight, or whatever it is. Having and what that does for your, exercise alone is good for your mental health, but having the confidence that what you just did is actually getting you closer to your end goal, dude, that's peak mental health.
That's
right
it.
There.
That's it.
Knowing exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and that it is going to work.
Absolutely, dude. Nailed it. Anybody listening, if you're, interested or find yourself saying, damn, I should find out more about hiring a coach, we are definitely all available for coaching right now. You can go to our website, championlivingfitness.com, click the Become an Athlete form, get to set up a free consult, get to talk to a coach, get all your questions answered. We make sure that we're pairing you up with the right coach that is going to get you on the path to achieving your goals. So again, check it out, championlivingfitness.com, become an athlete, get your free consult set up. Super easy, and we'll get you guys rolling. And as always, we have to thank our sponsors, Beastmaster Rodeo, been with us since day one, the top rodeo gear company in professional rodeo. You can use our discount code CHAMPIONLIVING, all one word, uppercase, going to save you 10% on all their products. And HOOEY brands, everyone loves HOOEY hats, shirts, and if you haven't tried their jeans, you've got to get some. Check out our discount code CHAMPIONLIVING, all one word as well. Save 10% on all their products. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.